ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضاه. In today's lesson we're going to start الدرس الثالث عشر. الدرس الثالث عشر, the 13th lesson in this book. But before we start, I forgot to complete number 10 in last lesson's homework. طيب, so I'm just gonna quickly do that. أتلك الحقيبة. Are we going to say الذي or التي? الحقيبة is feminine, so we say التي. أتلك الحقيبة التي تحت المكتب لك يا خديجة. يا خديجة. لا, هي لصديقي محمد. أتلك الحقيبة التي تحت المكتب لك يا خديجة. Is that bag which is under the desk, مضاف مضاف إليه. لك, belonging to you. Is that bag which is under the desk yours, O Khadija? No, هي لصديقي. It belongs to my friend Muhammad. It belongs to my friend Muhammad. Okay, what's the i'rab of Muhammad here? The i'rab of Muhammad is badal. We say this is badal. And what does badal mean? Badal means a substitute. And the mubdal minhu is the one who it's standing in the place of, the one that it's substituting. So Muhammad is substituting who? Who is it going back to, referring back to? The mubdal minhu is sadiq. So here sadiq is majhur because of li sadiqin, right? But because it's mudaf to mutakallim, we say sadiqi. Sadiqin is majhur, so the badal is also going to be majhur. One of the ways of identifying the badal is when you delete the mubdal minhu and you just mention the badal, then the meaning is still the same. So sadiqi, my friend, and Muhammad are referring to the exact same person. So you could say here li Muhammad. It belongs to Muhammad. Here li Muhammad. It's the same thing. So my friend and Muhammad are exactly the same thing. Just as when the ismul ishara is followed by a noun which has al, it refers to exactly the same thing, like هذا البيت. Here we have ذلك الشارع. So if we delete the mubdal minhu or the badal, one of the two, the meaning is going to remain the same. So if we say البيت الجديد الذي في الشارع للوزير, the new house which is on the street belongs to the wazir, the meaning is still going to be the same. طيب. So when you delete the mubdal minhu and you leave the badal, the meaning doesn't change. This is one of the ways of identifying the badal. So the i'rab of Muhammadin is badal. Okay, this is another way of bringing badal. So he brings the name of the person after it. So here this Khadija is a female. She is saying that her friend is Muhammad. Unless this friend is related to her, then it's not appropriate for her to have a male non-mahram friend. Okay, so beware of this. A Muslim woman should not be interacting with non-mahrams. طيب, this is not from good Islamic mannerism. طيب, so we start today's lesson. This is the longest lesson in this book. This is the longest lesson in this book, and this lesson is divided into 3 sections. There are 3 parts. In today's lesson, we're going to aim to complete part 1 from these 3 sections. We're going to try and complete section 1. And the main theme throughout lesson 13, whether that is in part 1, part 2, or part 3 of this lesson, is introducing the plural forms, jam'un. We did mention previously that the noun is categorized into 3 parts: mufrad, singular, muthanna, jul, and jam', more than 2. So here in this lesson, the author is going to teach us the plural forms in the Arabic language. Okay, in the Arabic language, we have 3 types of plurals. Okay, there are 3 types of plurals. So let's go over the rules. I hope everyone concentrates, because these rules are going to be important in understanding lesson 13, part 1, part 2, and part 3. So we have how many types of plurals? We have 3 types. 3 types. These 3 types can be subdivided into 2 types. We can have 2 main categories. The first is jam'un salim. Jam'un salimun. The sound, salim means sound. Sound plural. And then we have the second type, I'll write it here, is jam'un taksirun. Jam'un taksir. And this is broken. Broken plural. So we have 3 types, which are divided into 2. Jam'un salimun is the sound plural. Jam'un taksirun is the broken plural. The reason why I say 3 types is because 2 types are going to fall under jam'un salim. So 1, 2, plus this one is 3 in total. What does salim and taksir refer to? Sound or salim refers to the plural where the mufrad remains intact. The mufrad, the singular form, remains unchanged when creating the plural. So it's still there. Taksir, broken, is the opposite. So the sound form is changed or altered in the process of getting to the plural form. This is what we mean by salim and taksir. If the mufrad is changed, then it's taksir. If the mufrad does not change and it remains intact, it's salim. Okay. طيب. We said jam' salim is 2 types. The first type is jam' mudhakkarun salimun. Jam'un mudhakkarun salimun. And the second type is jam'un mu'annathun salimun. So the key word here is mu'annath and mudhakkar. So this is masculine sound plural. The masculine sound plural, and this is the feminine sound plural. So in total we have jam' mudhakkar salim, that's number 1, jam' mu'annath salim, that's number 2, and jam' taksir, and that's number 3. That's why we said there's 3 types of plural forms in the Arabic language, which are subdivided or can be divided into 2 types, jam' salim, jam' taksir. So in jam' salim, the mufrad remains intact. In both of these, the mufrad remains intact. This is usually taken from the masculine form. So the masculine singular is masculine, then we create the jam' mudhakkar salim, while the singular form, the mufrad word, remains intact. And jam' mu'annath salim is taken from the mu'annath word, and it's created into the plural form with the mufrad remaining intact. And jam' taksir can be taken from mudhakkar and mu'annath. It can be taken from both. How do we create the jam' mudhakkar salim? The jam' mudhakkar salim, for example, we have the word muslimun. Muslimun means a believer. And this word, the gender of this word is mudhakkar. How do we create the jam' mudhakkar salim? We create the jam' mudhakkar salim by taking off tanween firstly. We take off tanween. If there's tanween, we take off tanween. And we leave it with 1 dhamma. We leave it with 1 dhamma. So take off the tanween and give it 1 dhamma. So the meme is going to have a dhamma. Then we add waw with a sukoon and noon with a fatha. Muslimun, we add waw and noon to the end after taking off the tanween and giving the meme a dhamma, and it becomes muslimuna. Muslimuna. Muslimun becomes muslimuna. What does muslimuna mean? It means a lot of Muslims. More than 2 Muslims, plural. Okay, so we take off the tanween We give the last letter a dhamma, then we add waw and noon, muslimuna. Okay, this word now is mu'rab. It's a word that changes. It's a word that changes. When this word is marfu', there's a waw. This waw is what represents that it is marfu'. This waw, this letter, is what shows that it's marfu'. Similar to the asma al-khamsa, abuka and akhuka. Remember we said abuka and akhuka. These two words, they are marfu' because of the waw. Yeah. Muslimuna is also marfu' because of the waw, but it's not from the asma al-khamsa. It's in its own category. What category does it come in? Jam' mudhakkar salim. It comes in under this category of Jam' mudhakkar salim. So it's similar to asma al-khamsa in that it's marfu' with waw, but it's different in when it's majroor and when it's mansoob, it's different. Okay. In some books, when they explain the Jam' mudhakkar salim, the additions, they say you either add waw or noon, or you add ya and noon. Ya with a sukoon and noon with a fatha. When you add the ya with a sukoon and noon with a fatha, here we said the last letter takes a dhamma. When you add these two, the last letter takes a kasra. You have to add a kasra. Okay, when do you add this and when do you add this? You add this addition with a waw and noon, and the focus is on the waw and ya mainly because the noon is the same, right? Noon with the fatha is exactly the same. When do you add a waw and when do you add a ya? You add a waw if the word is marfu'. Why? Because the waw is what represents that the word is marfu'. Every other time, so when we say every other time, it means you're only left with majroor and mansoob. So when it's majroor or mansoob, you in the state of majroor mansoob, you add this one. You add a ya. Ya is what represents that this word is majroor or mansoob. So it will be muslimun. You take off the tanween once again. Instead of adding a dhamma here, you add a kasra. Then you add ya and noon. So it becomes muslimina. Muslimina. Okay. Muslimina and muslimuna mean exactly the same thing. The meaning is exactly the same. The only difference is the case now. This is marfu' and this is either majroor or mansoob. It can be mansoob or majroor, depending on what's coming before it, what's affecting it. So if we had fi, which one would we use? Would we use muslimuna or muslimina? We use muslimina because fi makes the word that comes after majroor. And the majroor form of Jam' mudhakkar salim, we add ya and noon, not waw and noon. Okay, if we wanted to create a sentence where we're going to make this one of these two mubtada, which one are we going to use? We're going to use muslimuna. We're going to say al-muslimuna because the mubtada is ma'rifah, right? We say al-muslimuna. Why are we using al-muslimuna, not al-muslimina? Because mubtada is marfu'. So if you're going to use the marfu' form, you use the one with the waw. Okay, if we were going to make it maf'ulun bihi, for example, object of a sentence. The Jews killed the Muslims. Al-Yahud qatalu al-muslimuna or muslimina. Remember, maf'ulun bihi, the object is always mansoob. So if it's mansoob, we're going to use this one. Okay, so that's the point. The point is Jam' mudhakkar salim, the mufrad, the singular word, remains intact because look, mim, sin, lam, mim hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. All we've done is we've affixed either waw or noon, a ya and noon. So you just need to work out, are you adding waw or noon or ya and noon depending on the case ending. If it's marfu', you add waw and noon. If it's majroor, you add ya and noon. This is Jam' mudhakkar salim. Okay, Jam' mu'annath salim, we said we take it from the mu'annath and we turn it into a Jam' by adding alif and ta. So if we had, for example, muslimatun. Muslimatun means a female Muslim. If we want to make Jam' mu'annath salim, we need to add alif and ta. Alif and ta. The ta is going to have tanween. If the word, the singular word, has ta marbuta, we have to take off the ta marbuta. We take off the ta marbuta completely with the tanween on it before adding the alif and ta. So it's going to be muslima, and then we add the alif and ta. Muslimatun. So if it was mu'minatun, it will be mu'minatun, not mu'minatatun. If we added the alif and ta directly, it will be mu'minatatun or muslimatatun. This is wrong, yeah? It should be muslimatun, mu'minatun. طيب قانتات تائبات عابدات سائحات ثيبات, the ayah which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he mentions. طيب, so here we have جمع مذكر سالم, جمع مؤنث سالم. In both of these, it's sound. What sound? The mufrad remains intact, it remains unchanged. All that's happening is we're affixing some additions to the end of it. If it's mudhakkar salim, we're adding waw and noon or ya and noon, depending on its case, its i'rab. If it's marfu, we add waw and noon. If it's majroor or mansoob, we add ya and noon. Okay, with jam' muannath salim, we're adding alif and ta. But we have to remove the ta marbuta before adding the alif and ta, if it has a ta marbuta. طيب, the alif and ta now, when it's marfu', it has dhammatain. Muslimatun. When it's marfu', it has dhammatain. Muslimatun. If it's majroor, it becomes kasratain. Muslimatin. Kasratain. When it's mansoob, it's also going to take kasratain. Muslimatin comes with the kasratain when it's majroor and when it's mansoob in 2 times. So it has the same sign, it has the same alama, the same symbol to represent that it's majroor and when it's mansoob. Just like this one. The same sign, the same ya shows that it's mansoob and it's majroor. So how do you know if it's mansoob, majroor? It depends on what's coming before it, or what's affecting it, or its position in the sentence. So if it's mubtada, if it's khabar, maf'ulun bih, and so on. That's what helps you identify if this ya shows that it's mansoob or this ya is showing that it's majroor. And the same for the kasratain. Is this kasratain showing that it's majroor or is this kasratain showing that it's mansoob? So for example, khalaqa. Khalaqa means to create. It's a fi'l madi. This fi'l is muta'addi. It's transitive. It requires a object. Okay. Where's the fa'il? Who's the doer of the creating? Allahu. Allahu is marfu' because it's fa'il. خلق Allah. Allah created. What did He create? He created al-ard. Al-arda. Al-arda is maf'ulun bihi. Maf'ulun bihi is the object. طيب, Allah created the earth. Allah created the earth. And He also created as-samawat. خلق الله الأرض and as-samawat. As-samawat, samawat is يعني it changes in the same way as the jam' muannath salim. Jam' muannath salim. Samawatun. Samawatun, samawatin, samawatin. Okay. In this case, waw has come. Harf atf, right? Harf atf means that whatever is going to come after is ma'tuf. So this is going to be ma'tuf to arda, which is mansoob. So this is also going to be mansoob. How do we make samawat? As-samawat mansoob. If the jam' muannath salim as alif lam, it's not going to have tanween. So it's only going to have 1 dhamma or 1 kasra. طيب. So here is going to take 1 kasra because it's mansoob. Why is it mansoob? Because it's ma'tuf, it's linked, connected, referenced back to something which is mansoob. So it's also going to be mansoob. Remember, ma'tuf ala al-arda, mansoob, so this is going to be mansoob. I hope this is understood. خلق الله الأرض والسماوات. Allah created the earth and the heavens. Samawat is mansoob, and the sign of it mansoob is a kasra. Why is a kasra coming as a sign of it being mansoob? Because this is jam' muannath salim. Jam' muannath salim. The point of this is to teach you that the signs of indicating that the word is marfu', the signs of indicating that the word is majroor, the signs of indicating that the word is mansub vary. The asl, the origin, is that when a word is marfu', the primary sign is dhamma or dhammatain. This is the primary sign. When a word is mansub, the primary sign of it being showing you that this word is mansub is fatha or fathatain. When a word is majroor, the primary sign showing that this word is majroor is kasra or kasratain. Primary signs. Then the secondary signs. Secondary signs. From the secondary signs that show that a word is marfu' is waw. Waw. If you see a waw, then you know that this word is marfu'. And this is a secondary sign, not a primary sign. Where do we see a waw and it shows us that the word is marfu'? Well, this happens in the asma'ul khamsa, in the 5 special nouns. We haven't taken all of 5, we've taken 2. The abuka and akhuka. In abuka and akhuka, the words, these 2 words are marfu', and the sign of it marfu' is not dhamma, it's a secondary sign, and that is waw. Likewise, in the jam' mudhakkar salim, the sign of the word being marfu' is waw. So waw can be a secondary sign showing that a word is marfu'. Likewise, when a word is mansub, we have the primary sign fatha or fathatain. But sometimes a secondary sign can come to show that the word is mansub. Like here now. What's the secondary sign? Ya. We have a ya. This ya is what shows that this word is mansub. Another secondary sign is kasra. Kasra or kasratain. And that's in the jam' mu'annath salim. The jam' mu'annath salim, when it's mansub, we have a kasra or kasratain, which is a secondary sign showing that this word is mansub. Okay, majroor is kasra or kasratain. That's the primary sign. From the secondary signs is ya. So we have ya, and we also have kasra or kasratain once again in the jam' mu'annath salim, showing that the word is majroor. The point is, the mu'rab nouns, they can be categorized into 8 categories. The mu'rab nouns, 8 categories. These 8 categories have been categorized like this because of the signs. طيب, they have various signs showing that the word is marfu' or mansub or majur. That's why we have asma'ul khamsa. From these 8 is asma'ul khamsa. One of the categories is asma'ul khamsa. One of the categories is jam' mudhakkar salim. One of the categories is jam' mu'annath salim. One of the categories is jam' taksir. One of the categories is ism mufrad. You see, all of these are different categories of mu'rab nouns. Why is that? Because they vary in the way they change. So slowly, the author is introducing these 8 categories throughout the lessons. So here we're learning jam' mudhakkar salim, jam' mu'annath salim, and jam' taksir. Okay. As for the jam' taksir, then it has no fixed rule for making the jam' taksir. There's no fixed rule where you're adding this. Like here we're adding alif and ta, and here we're adding waw and nun or ya and nun. This jam' taksir does not have a set pattern, a set formula. It is totally based on sama', on hearing, how it was heard from the Arabs. So sometimes you have a letter added. For example, there might be a letter that's added to the mufrad, like rajulun, which means a man. To get the plural form using jam' taksir, it becomes rijalun. Rijalun. So what's happened here? There's a letter that's been added. This is one way. A letter is added. Sometimes a letter is omitted from the mufrad. For example, kitabun. Kitabun, the plural form is kutubun. Kutubun. Where's the alif gone? It's been omitted. And sometimes there's no addition of letters or omission of letters. It's merely changing of the harakat. For example, khashabun. Khashabun means a plank of wood. Planks of wood, we say khushubun. So no letters were added, no letters were omitted. It's the same letters, same order as well. All that's changed is the harakat. So khasha became khushu. خشب. And this is the plural. So this is jam' at-taksir. Jam' at-taksir, the mufrad is broken. And when we say broken, it's either broken by an additional letter, broken by an omission of a letter, broken by the harakat changed. Okay, this is what I mean by broken. So it's not intact. And there's no set rule. It's something that we have to memorize. Something that we have to memorize. طيب, it's also possible for a word in the Arabic language to have more than one plural. It's possible for a word, one word, to have more than one plural. For example, the word bahrun. Bahrun means ocean or sea. It has more than one plural. From the plurals is biharun. Biharun, oceans or seas. That's one. Another plural, buhurun. Another plural, abharun. So we have more than one plural for the same word. Okay, oceans. All of these are plural for the same word. The final point that we want to mention is that in the Arabic language, the nouns, they have a plural, including the adjectives. Even the adjectives in the Arabic language, they have a plural, which is different to English. In English, the adjective is the same for singular and plural. It doesn't change. Whereas in Arabic, even the adjectives, they have a plural. They have to change according to the thing you're describing. So if it's singular, the adjective is going to be singular. If it's plural, the adjective is going to be plural. So these are the general rules for lesson 13. Now, inshallah, we're going to start reading the text and covering the specific rules related to lesson or part 1 of lesson 13. Let's read. من هؤلاء الفتية الطوال يا علي. Man is a question used to ask about intellectual beings. Man is اسم الاستفهام لعاقل. Man is اسم الاستفهام, interrogative pronoun, لعاقل, for عاقل, the intellectual being. When you ask about people. من هؤلاء الفتية الطوال يا علي. هؤلاء is a new word. The plural of هذا and هذه is هؤلاء. And just like in هذا and هذه, where we're stretching the ha, even though there's no alif that is written, there's an alif that's pronounced, but it's not written. And the same thing here. There's an alif that is going to be pronounced, so we're going to stretch the ha, but we're not going to write the alif. هؤلاء. So we say هؤلاء. هؤلاء is the plural of هذا and هذه. But it differs from هذا and هذه in two things. Firstly, this can be used for masculine and feminine, both of them. It's unisex. In terms of gender, it's unisex. Whereas هذا is only for masculines, هذه is only for feminines. هؤلاء is unisex. That's one difference. The second difference is هذا and هذه is used for intellectual beings and non-intellectual beings or objects. هؤلاء is only used for intellectual beings, human beings. طيب. So you don't say هؤلاء سيارات, هؤلاء بيوت. These are cars, these are houses. That's wrong. You only use it for people. هؤلاء مسلمون, هؤلاء مسلمات. These are a group of Muslims, these are a group of Muslims, male, female. طيب. So هؤلاء is also an اسم الإشارة للقريب. It's an اسم الإشارة used for things which are close. So it's used for if the people you're pointing out are close to you. These are whatever they are. So if we go back to the text, here we have Man هؤلاء. Who are these? Fitya. Fitya is the plural of fatan. Plural of fatan, young lad. Remember, fatan, fitya. So what type of plural is this? It is jam' taksir, jam' mudhakkar salim, jam' muannath salim. If the singular is fatan, is this jam' taksir or jam' mudhakkar salim or jam' muannath salim? Has the singular remained intact or has it been broken? It's broken. So this is jam' taksir, fitya. Fitya is a group of young youth. At-tiwalu. So we're describing them. This is na'at man'ut. Al-tiwalu is the plural of tawilun. The plural of tawilun is tiwalu. So from the rules that we mentioned regarding na'at man'ut is that they have to match in number. So this is plural, this is plural. Who are these tall young men, O Ali? Man ha'ula'i al-fityatu tiwalu ya aliyu. We don't say fityatu tawilu. Tawil is singular, fitya is plural. It doesn't match. It has to match in number. Okay. So fityatu tiwalu. Man ha'ula'i al-fityatu tiwalu. So from this point onwards, you have to try and memorize the plural forms. Man ha'ula'i al-fityatu tiwalu ya Ali. Who are these tall young lads, O Ali? Hum tullabun jududun. Hum tullabun jududun. They are new students. They are new students. Hum is a damir. It's a pronoun which is detached. Damir munfasil. Munfasil. So hum is a new damir for us. Hum is a new damir. It's a plural of huwa. So we have huwa and then we have hum. Huwa means he, hum is they, referring to a group of males. They are tullabun. Tullabun is the plural of talibun. Talib is one student, tullab group of students. This is jam taksir. Jam taksir. Because the singular talibun has been broken. It's not intact. Jududun, new. We're describing the tullab to be judud, new. This is also jam taksir. Tullabun jududun, this is na'at man'ut. Tullabun jududun na'at man'ut. If we was to analyze the sentence, we say mubtada khabar. Mubtada khabar. And this is na'at. Another rule that we need to remember is that when the mubtada and khabar come, and the khabar is a singular khabar, it will always match in gender and number. So hum is mudhakkar, tullab is mudhakkar. Hum is jam', tullab is jam'. It will always match in gender and number. Min ayna hum, where are they from? Hum min Amrika, they are from America. Hum min Amrika. Ahum zumala'uka, ahum zumala'uka, are they your colleagues? Zumala is a plural of zamil. Zumala is written like this. Zumala'un. Zumala'un is written like this. But because we're attaching the kaf after it, zumala'uka, there's a rule for writing the hamza. And this rule for writing the hamza, sometimes you find the hamza written on top of a alif, sometimes beneath a alif, sometimes on its own, sometimes on top of a waw, sometimes on top of a ya, sometimes on a nabira, like a pointy thing like this. طيب, these are all studied in a subject called imla. Imla is where you study these rules. So from the times where it's written on top of a waw is in this case when it has a dhamma, and the letter before it is a alif. If the letter before the hamza is a alif and the waw and the hamza has a dhamma, then it's going to be written on a waw. So two rules. The letter before the hamza is a alif and the hamza itself has a dhamma, then we're going to write it on a waw. And the same for asdiqa. The plural of sadiq is asdiqa'un. 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 If we're going to say asdiqa'uka, asdiqa'uka, how are we going to write the hamza? It's preceded by alif and the hamza itself has a dhamma. So we're going to write it on a waw. Asdiqa'uka. It's going to come towards the end of this passage. Na'am, hum zumala'i. Yes, they are my colleagues. Hum fi fasli. They are in my class. Hum fi fasli. Ahum mujtahiduna. Are they hard working? So this is the first example of jam' mudhakkar salim. Jam' mudhakkar salim. Mujtahidun became mujtahiduna. Addition of waw and noon. Ahum mujtahiduna. Are they hardworking? Na'am, hum mujtahiduna. Yes, they are hardworking. ما أسماؤهم. What are their names? Ismun, the plural of ismun, ismun, and the singular has a hamzatul wasl. This is hamzatul wasl. Whereas the plural of ismun has a hamzatul qata. This is called hamzatul qata. Asma'un. The difference between hamzatul qata and hamzatul wasl is the hamzatul wasl is only read if you're beginning the word. If it's in the middle of a sentence, you skip this. Whereas hamzatul qata will always be read, whether you're beginning the word with it or you're continuing in the middle, wherever it is, it's always going to be read. Asma wa asma. This one you're going to say wasmun. This you say wa asma, asma, beginning or in the middle, it's always going to be read. So the same rule here is preceded by a alif and it's going to have a dhamma, so we write it on a waw. So this one is written like this. Ma asma'uhum. What are their names? Asma'uhum, their names are as follows. Yasirun wa Zakariya wa Musa wa Abdullahi. Their names are Yasirun, we have Yasir, then we have Zakariya, then we have Musa, then we have Abdullahi. وَمَنْ هَؤُلَاءِ الرِّجَالُ الْقِصَارُ. And who are these short men? Who are these short men? رَجُلٌ رِجَالٌ. Rajul is singular, Rijal is plural. Qasirun is short, Qisar is plural. So who are these short men? They match in number. Plural, plural. Hum hujjajun. They are pilgrims. Hujjaj is the plural of hajjun. Hajj is a pilgrim. Hajjun, a pilgrim. Hujjaj is pilgrims, plural. Min aynahum. Where are they from? Ba'duhum min as-Sini wa ba'duhum min al-Yabani. Ba'dun means some. Ba'd, this noun means some. Ba'dun. And this noun is usually mudaf. It's always going to be mudaf. Yeah, most of the time it's going to be mudaf. That's why we have ba'duhum. So here we have some of them are from China and some of them are from Japan. طيب. أين موسى وأصدقاؤه. Where is Musa and his friends? أين موسى وأصدقاؤه. Where is Musa and his friends? It says ذهبوا إلى المطعم. ذهبوا إلى المطعم. They went to the restaurant. Mat'am is restaurant. The other thing that we need to learn is when we're referring to a group of men, we say that if they did something, we say ذهبوا. So ذهب is the origin, right? ذهب is the origin. ذهب means he went. But if we're going to say they went and you're speaking about a group of males, we give the last letter a dhamma. We give the last letter a dhamma, then we add the waw. This waw is called wawul jama'a. Wawul jama'ati. The waw representing jama'a, a group. The waw representing a group. Yani a group of males that have done this action. Dhahabu. So this waw is sakin. That's why it doesn't have anything. It's sakin. It's vowelless. However, this waw, to signify that this waw is waw al-jama'a and not any other waw, we have an alif that comes after it. This alif is called aliful fariqa. Aliful fariqati. Aliful fariqati. Aliful fariqa. Fariqa is the distinguishing alif. Fariqa is the one that distinguishes, the one that separates. What does it separate? What does it distinguish? It distinguishes that this waw is waw al-jama'a, not any other waw. So whenever you see waw al-jama'a, it's always going to be followed by an alif. This alif is not read, yeah? It's just there to help you distinguish and identify that the waw here is waw al-jama'a. Dhahabu means they went. Dhahabu means they went. And this what we've just mentioned here, this ending change applies to all of the af'al. So kharaja, for example, means he left. If you wanted to say they left, you do the same thing. You say خرجوا, they left. Jalasa means he sat. If you want to say a group of males sat, you say jalasu. Same things. Same thing and same changes you apply. So this is one of the things that we need to take out from this lesson. So this ضمير منفصل hum represents the plural of huwa, group of men. If you're saying the group of men went, they did the action, you add واو الجماعة. This is a ضمير متصل. ضمير متصل. When it's attached to verbs, we use this showing that it's fa'il. The dua, واو الجماعة, represents hum, that they are the ones who did this action. This hum, the muttasil version of this, like their houses, for example, it's hum as well. Hum, the muttasil version of hum is written in the same way. If it's coming as a possessive pronoun, like their houses, buyutuhum, kutubuhum, lughatuhum, okay, means the same thing, their houses. Okay, we've covered the lesson. Now we're going to set the homework. تمارين, exercises. The first piece of homework says حول المبتدأ في كل من الجمل الآتية إلى جمع. Transform or change the mubtada in all of the following sentences into plural. That means if the mubtada is going to be plural, the khabar, if it's single worded, and all of the khabar here are going to be single worded, is also going to be plural. That's because the mubtada and the khabar, they match in gender and number. So here, for example, it says هذا طالب. This is singular, this is singular. This is plural, this has to be plural. If you change the mubtada and make it plural, you have to change the khabar and make it plural also. هؤلاء طلاب. هذا طالب, this is a student. هؤلاء طلاب. These all are students. All of these are students. So the same thing. And they've made it easy by giving you the plurals. The plurals are in the brackets. That's homework number 1. Homework number 2 is, it says here حول المفردات التي تحتها خط إلى جموع كما هو موضح في المثال. Change the words which have the underlined words التي تحتها خط, which have a line underneath them. So the underlined words, change the underlined words into plurals, as is demonstrated or illustrated in the example. The example says من هذا الرجل هو حاج. Who is this man? He is a hajj. The underlined word is a rajul. So if I change the underlined word, then I have to change everything which is referring to that, everything which is linked to that. So if it's na'at, I have to change the man'ut. If it's the mubtada, I have to change the khabar, and so on. So change whatever requires changing so the sentence makes sense. So here I've changed rajul, it became ar-rijalu. So ar-rijalu, I can't say هذا الرجال, I have to say هؤلاء الرجال. And in the answer I can't say huwa, I have to say hum now. And I can't say hajjun, I have to say hujjajun. So once you change this word, you have to change everything that is linked to that word so that the sentence makes sense. Everything necessary that requires changing, you have to also change them. So let's do this together. Say من أين هذا الطالب هو من الهند. I'm going to change طالب to طلاب. So if I say طلاب, I have to say هؤلاء. من أين هؤلاء الطلاب. Where are these students from? Do I say هو or هم? I have to say هم من الهند. And so on until the end. Then it says أضف الأسماء الآتية مرة إلى اسم ظاهر وأخرى إلى ضمير كما هو موضح في المثال. It says do إضافة of the following nouns, firstly to ism ظاهر, to a normal noun, and another time to a ضمير, a pronoun, as is illustrated in the example. So in the example here we have أبناء. So we have أبناء محمد. So this is a normal noun. We're making it mudaf to a normal noun. Then we're making it mudaf to the pronoun here. The pronoun that's given is who, أبناؤه. The sons of Muhammad, his sons. So the same thing here. أسماء, we're going to say أسماء طيب, so this here is going to actually it's the rule that we mentioned, the writing rule, the spelling rule. So the spelling rule applies only if there is a damir muttasil, because it becomes one word. You're writing the word as though it's one word, so the waw is acting like it's in the middle. Whereas if it's two separate words, the rule doesn't apply. The spelling rule doesn't apply because this is a separate rule. So this rule where the hamza is going to be written on top of a waw only applies if it's in a something that looks like one word. It looks like one word, although in reality it's two separate words, because this is a ism, this is another ism. But because it's written together, it's in the form of one word. So it takes the ruling of waw in the middle of a word. So it only applies like this. So this when you write it. Otherwise, it's going to be written on the satr, on the line. Okay, so that's that homework. Then it says, اقرأ المثال ثم حول الجمل الآتية مثله. Read the example, then change the sentences similar to it. So الطالب ذهب إلى المطعم. Here we're going to say الطلاب ذهبوا إلى المطعم. So the sentence here says الطالب. We change الطالب into الطلاب. This example is an example of a sentence or جملة اسمية. This جملة اسمية has a مبتدأ, and then the khabar is coming as a جملة فعلية. The khabar is coming as a جملة فعلية. And we mentioned previously that when the khabar comes as a جملة فعلية or جملة اسمية, there always has to be a link going back to the mubtada. There has to be a link going back to the mubtada, and this link is usually a ضمير. A ضمير. So الطالب ذهب إلى المطعم. He went to the restaurant. Where's the link? The link is the fa'il here. هو. هو goes back to هو. Okay, let's look at this one. الطلاب. Where's the link in ذهبوا إلى المطعم? The link is this waw. This waw represents hum. This hum goes back to طلاب, hum. They went. Yeah, الطلاب, they went to the مطعم. When you translate to English, you don't say the students, they went. You say the students went to the restaurant. The student went. You don't, the student, he went. So the same thing, you're going to do the same thing here. You need to practice using the waw al-jama'ah in these sentences. اقرأ واكتب. Then we have a اقرأ واكتب exercise that goes all the way up to number 16. Then اكتب جمع الكلمات الآتية. Write the plural forms of these words. The plural forms of these words should have been learnt from the exercises here. So they were given here, all of them. So you have to memorize them. And inshallah, make sure you have memorized them before getting here. The new words. الكلمات الجديدة. الحقل is field. جمع حقول, fields. الناس, people. القرية, village. الضيف, guest. الشيخ can mean someone who is knowledgeable or someone who is old in age. It has two meanings. Sheikh, someone who is knowledgeable, or someone who is old in age. مطعم, restaurant. المدرسة الابتدائية is primary school. المدرسة الابتدائية is primary school. So we've taken المدرسة الثانوية, المدرسة المتوسطة. المدرسة الثانوية secondary school. المدرسة المتوسطة is college. So I hope everyone is able to do the homework inshallah before the next lesson. Next lesson we're going to go over the homework inshallah. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.